Desde la cabina más importante de Long Island, en New York, infórmate de lo que pasa en tu barrio. En 3, 2, 1, arrancamos. Anthony from the neighborhood en Latino Mixx. Dale play a tu bocina.
So we're going to stick to the Soundview section of the Bronx. And this is kind of an interesting part. I don't know much about it. I heard that it was basically underdeveloped till the 1940s. And then I'm assuming just like New York, they had a bunch of tenement housing. But I don't know much else. See, there's a different thing that happens when you grow up in a place. You witness the change. It's like seeing your child grow up. Es como cuando tú ves a tu niño crecer. Tú sabes todas las manías, todas las mañas, todo lo bueno y lo malo de tu hijo. When you live in a neighborhood, you know it like the back of your hand. You know it like if it was your child. So with that, I have a guest who's with me here on my right side. I want to welcome him to the show. Louis, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Great to be here, and it's a long time coming.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We've been talking about it for a long time. We keep talking about it, and every life keeps happening.
Yeah. Listen, and with good reason, you know, like we weren't putting it off because we're not that kind of people. It's just really been busy.
Yeah, we've been busy.
Yeah. And I love the stuff you're doing, which we're going to get into, you know, and how you've been affecting your community. But, you know, why don't you just go right off the bat? Mm-hmm. When people hear what you have to say, I know they're going to be attracted. Why don't you right off the bat tell them like how to reach you?
When you easiest way to reach me, Instagram, asklouisomar.com. If you Google Ask Louis Omar, basically YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, everything, TikTok, everything. Whatever platform there is.
It's like me. You just type in the 3 words.
You'll find me. Or put Luis Omar Figueroa and I just come up with
So, escucharon, Luis Omar Figueroa. El hombre es hispano,
Luis
puertorriqueño.
Omar Figueroa.
Epa, puertorriqueño, del Bronx.
De la isla.
And you're still there in the Bronx.
I have a building there. My office is in the Bronx.
Wow,
in Soundview.
Está sembrado en la comunidad.
Yeah, I invested.
That's beautiful. And I know you have a lot to share on that. If you guys follow him on Instagram and you hear his stories, you'll see that he's about getting other people involved at that level. You know, because you have a lot of people who are doing it, but they're not sharing that information, and you're sharing it all the time.
Yeah, I think the biggest difference between me and my contemporaries is that I believe that making it more inclusive and showing the benefits of ownership, how, you know, things appreciate. Things that financial literacy that, you know, most of the times in school they don't teach you. In a Latino household, I don't know the way you grew up, and the way I grew up was that you couldn't talk about money. You didn't ask your parents how much you made. None of those questions came up, and I think those are really important questions, especially as I talk to my kids and they're telling me, I'm going on YouTube to learn about mortgages. I'm like, yo,
I'm right here.
I'm the money guy. What are you doing?
We right here.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you doing, man? I'm right here. I'm like an untapped resource.
Man, look at that.
Those are all personal things that have happened to me that just tell me that it's necessary.
Yeah. Listen, and you know what? At the end of the day, it shouldn't be a taboo conversation in the household, right? And I think like if it's a taboo conversation at home and then you're not having the conversation in school, like you're coming out to the real world without a parachute.
Yeah, where do you have it? Where do you have this conversation? When it's too late? When you don't know about credit cards and running it up and, you know, those things, right?
That's big. Now, so why don't we talk about this? Tú eres de la isla, right?
Born Puerto Rico, Cataño.
Oh, okay. So now, habla español.
Hablo español, sí.
Okay, señores, aquí hemos tenido mucha gente con el apellido hispano y no hablan español.
Hablo español. El idioma es más bello que el inglés.
Sí. Y tu concentración, o sea, tu profesión. What's your profession?
Tengo dos. Soy hipotecario, que presto dinero, y también tengo real estate. So tengo dos compañías.
So trabaja en fincas raíces y también dando préstamos. And these are some of these are like really high-end, you know, conversations because it's commercial lending.
Yeah.
Right? So hace préstamos comerciales. We're talking people who have businesses, multifamily buildings, warehouses, things
people
like that.
People que están trabajando y quieren comprar su edificio, you know, things like that. Bodegueros that need money. You know, there's so many.
Tell me about your passion of wanting to get back into that business, because now you go ahead and you study something like real estate.
I didn't even study. I went to NYU. I didn't study real estate.
Really?
I was a metropolitan science major, which is a hybrid between psychology and sociology. I wanted to originally be an FBI agent. That was my original dream.
It's like me. I wanted to be a cop.
And that's when watching TV, right? Watching the movies.
You're
like, yo, I want to have a gun. I want to chase people.
Wow.
And then financial things start happening and you're like, wow, they only make that much money? And, you know, like, to me, that was the big
So that
thing.
was a wake up.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to risk my life at 55 starting. I was like, no, let me.
But when you get into real estate, you can practice anywhere. So why stick in the Bronx?
Well, because we need people that are going to take care of us. People that are a little more financially literate.
Representation.
To help those that are not as financially literate. And the crazy thing is, like, I'll have people come to my office. I've had this happen. They come into your office, they'll say, hey, I got this loan offer from Quicken. Can you look at it?
Yeah.
And this really happened, right? So I look at it, I go, oh, Alfonso, this looks good. I would do this deal.
Yeah.
He goes, well, can you do this deal? I was like, yeah, absolutely. But he's like, no, but you're here.
Yeah.
If something goes wrong, I want to be able to look you in the eye. And that's the part with Latinos and African Americans and in any underserved community. They want to have some sort of attachment, some sort of connection.
Yes.
And most of the time, the big businesses, they don't give that.
They don't have that connection. I think this is beautiful here because we're talking about someone who basically grew up in the neighborhood, right?
Yeah.
And you've seen the neighborhood transform. I said it before the music break, how neighborhoods have changed and they're like your children, right? What have you witnessed there since when you were a child? How was it like growing up?
The craziest part about the Bronx is that it's like the poorest borough, right? So people know that. So all the money gets to us last. So in the beginning, you have like in Morrison, Soundview, Class and Point area, you had all these. So in the end, by the water, a lot of Boricuas, a lot of Latinos, and they were just building houses, like little, like ranchero, like wood houses.
Yes.
Yeah. So,
yes.
So, and they were claiming the land, and it just became a thing. It became Little Puerto Rico back there. Then there was a major development in the 90s called Class and Point. They built about, I might be misquoted, 500 condos. At that price, at the price point of $235 back then. I'm quoting back then. Now those are worth like $5.
Right.
Clubhouse, amenities, pool. Those people have never seen that before. So you had a lot of displacement. But the guys that were working, the 2-income families, were starting to be able to make their move, right?
Yeah.
To buy stuff. And that changed it a little more because now with ownership, you take pride.
Correct.
Right? With ownership, right? So you're not in the projects no more.
Exactly.
Now all of a sudden, I want to clean the front of my house. I want my neighbor to make sure
you have an invested interest.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Because it's part of your identity.
Yeah.
And that is the part I try to tell people about. That's the beauty of ownership, right? Because you become attached.
And it would be beautiful to know that, hey, this is a Latino neighborhood, let's say like a little Puerto Rico, which is actually inhabited by Puerto Ricans. Right? Because then it's not just a token name. Right? It's an actual way of life.
My first client ever has 4 houses in Little Puerto Rico.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not gonna say his name. Yeah. First client.
That's awesome.
He's like my day one.
Well, listen, not for nothing. I mean, one day to walk the street and talk to this gentleman and hear his story would be a pleasure. So I would love to take the streets with you and just experience it. I mean, do we got roosters crossing the street?
Absolutely.
What do we have?
Roosters getting ready like for rooster fights. I mean, all that.
Yeah. I love it.
I really, really, really.
So I'm Dominican, right? Okay. And rooster fights are common. In my country, that's a thing. And they wake you up in the morning.
It's not barbaric. It's like like we watch 2 humans fight in a boxing match. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah. No, I get it. And listen, you know what? Not for nothing. It's better to see that quarrels get resolved in one way or the other. And we do this when we see baseball games, we see boxing matches. I mean, UFC, and guys are actually resolving and making friendships that way. And I say guys and girls, everyone.
Right.
But like this is something that goes back to our culture. This is they play such an important part just in the food cycle. I mean, nothing goes to waste in the islands.
Right.
Nothing.
No. They'll find a way to make sofrito out of anything. They'll make sopa de todo. Yeah, it's
that's awesome.
But because they grow we're farmers, right? So that's there is no, we could throw it away and buy it.
I think the farmer life is something that's difficult to be understood here in
if you've never
especially
been
in the
there.
city. If you've never been there,
yeah.
I had the experience, for example, of like having the outhouse.
Okay.
La letrina.
So we're aging ourselves right now. We're 70s, we're 70s, 80s babies right now.
There we go. There we go.
And when they sent you to Puerto Rico for 2 months, it's not because they didn't love you. It's because mommy didn't want to pay for childcare. Go abuela, and you go to the outhouse and you've never been somewhere and at nighttime you're shitting your pants because you don't know what's happening.
You don't know what's happening, right? And you just got all these fireflies.
And
chicharras, right? Making the noise. You're like, all right, I'm going this way. Well, I gotta say something that this is something important. Las personas que están ahora escuchando, estamos hablando del tiempo de cuando nosotros éramos niños y en una parte del Bronx donde está un pequeño pueblo de Puerto Rico. Y cuando nosotros estamos pensando en esos tiempos de antes, los papás nos mandaban a la isla porque no había cuidado para los niños.
No hay dinero para eso.
Y estaban trabajando sus 10, 12, 18 horas al día.
7 días a la semana.
7 días a la semana para reunir sus 2 centavos para poder comprar algo. So, cuando nos mandaban a la isla no es que no querían estar con sus hijos, pero no existía eso de lo que está ahora, like, the pre-K. Es un programa de pre-K, 3K.
Advanced learning.
These at-home daycares.
What are you learning it to yourself?
Todas estas son facilidades que nosotros tengamos ahora, si en realidad, people should be really taking advantage of it because, mira, un viaje en avión tener la preocupación de tu niño. I mean, I don't care how many times you do a WhatsApp video, you still want your child next to you. But to know that you have all these programs now here in the city, you should definitely take advantage of these things to allow you to, put in that extra time, to achieve whatever your dreams are.
Yeah.
So
the crazy part I just want to add to that is that, I'm going to say in Spanish, la cultura cambió porque antes era más cariño, porque tú tenías el abuelo, abuela, la tía, metió en todo.
Generaciones.
Ahora todo está mucho más separado. So I'm starting to see that, even with my own kids, I had 9 aunts and uncles. So I have 55 cousins.
Wow.
So they have like 90 cousins.
55 primos.
Yeah, 55 primos y los bisprimos.
They say the Dominicans be like, hey, primo.
Yeah,
you guys are like, forget
and the
it.
island is small. So I'm trying to figure out a way para que mantener la relación entre los primos, porque tú sabes, eso pasa, ese tiempo pasa.
Sí, imagínate, y esa fuerza de familia, si uno la pudiera tener como si fuera su propio vecindario, 55 primos, imagínate, es un vecindario solo. So that's like your own neighborhood. If you have that many cousins, imagine education, the right conversation, right? Things not being taboo, such as money.
Empowerment.
Yeah. Imagine what you can grow.
Pull each other up.
And I know the Soundview section has had a lot of people with a lot of grit. They just haven't been given the chance.
Right.
Now, on a positive note, with all of these turbulence, right? All of these setbacks, boundaries, tell me some of the things that have been achieved there that you witnessed as you've seen this child grow.
The whole thing with when they were doing the 503Cs, I believe, the tax abatements for developers, they came in and
421A.
421A, I'm sorry.
Yes.
They did.
Okay.
They did very large like tracts of 2 to 3 families.
Yeah.
And they would do a lottery.
Housing lottery.
Yeah, and people would,
For ownership.
Right, for ownership, less than, you had to be less than a certain income because they wanted to push those people in there.
Right.
So I saw a lot of that happen. I saw the condominiums coming up.
My aunt picked up an HDFC co-op in Williamsburg when the building was abandoned.
Okay.
And this was way back. I think it was for like something like $80,000.
And now it's worth 800?
No, it's because they still have to fit within income brackets. They don't fall out of HDFC. But the point is, she appreciated massive amounts. She had the opportunity. You want to keep renting it for this, or do you want to purchase it? Because the neighborhood, everything was, buildings look like Swiss cheese.
Yeah, and the name of the game is appreciation. You just touched on it. Like, that's the part most people don't understand.
Yeah.
No quiero comprar, I don't want to have a headache. I'm like, you don't understand that it's almost like a forced savings.
Right.
And people don't see that part, and that's the part I like to talk about sometimes.
That's crazy. Listen, guys, appreciation, we're talking about it in a financial standpoint. Estamos hablando de apreciación según el dinero y comprando tu hogar y como eso ha cambiado la vida de él.
Sí.
Pero también es teniendo agradecimiento and appreciating what's around you as it is. Because I don't think you can excel if you don't appreciate what's there right now to know how to make use of it. Because a lot of times we're just looking at it as a problem.
Right.
This is bad, this is bad, this is bad. We're not looking at it as, hey, this is from a point of, let's say, gratitude, right? And appreciation for what's there.
Yeah.
Right? Because you could be having an outhouse. No, guys, we got running water. Right? Let's appreciate simple things like that.
Running water on command.
Exactly. So let's appreciate things like that because it can get crazy out there and literally it's like a jungle sometimes. That's how I'm going to go into that.
Is that the segue?
That's a segue, my man. It's like a jungle sometimes. Let's go.
No te muevas. Regresamos en tan solo minutos. De regreso con Anthony from the Neighborhood.
Yes, y aquí estamos, señores. Regresamos hablando más del Bronx. Y yo tuve aquí Luis, que me estaba contando mucho sobre su experiencia viviendo allá. Y ahora le voy a hacer 1, 2, 3 preguntas porque me tiene un invitado que nos va a contar más sobre su propia experiencia en viviendo en el Bronx.
Un invitado especial.
Yeah, y ustedes se encontraron de
el
manera...
caballo.
¿Cómo se encontraron? Johnny Ventura. What did you bring here?
No.
How did you guys run into each other?
I ran into you with JC Juan Carlo. I was interviewing media companies because at that point, I had just stepped down as the president of one of those non-for-profits.
Hold on a second. So you were president of NARAP.
NARAP Bronx, yeah.
I
founded the chapter and I was...
All right. Well, NARAP is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. He was the president of the chapter.
I was the founding president. I don't know if that means anything more.
No, listen, you started the ball rolling because the chapter is still in existence and that's for the Bronx.
Yes.
So way to go. Hey, can I get an applaud on that? That's a huge deal. We got executive officers.
You got presidents here, bro.
Beautiful, man. Well, listen, I'm glad that you founded such a thing because, people need to understand the importance of like really staking themselves into the ground, right?
It all circles back to my belief in financial literacy. That's all. You'll always see my hand in something to do with maybe letting people know, look, you can own too. This is why you should. Whether it be buildings or business, whatever it is. And
I love it.
I believe that changes you.
I love it. Well, if I was to ask you, what's the price just to get into this neighborhood? If I want to own something in Soundview. For what?
400.
400,000.
Yeah, 400,000.
400,000.
Yeah, 3.5% down is $12,000 to get you into a house.
Wow.
So think about that, right?
$12,000. So you save about $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And basically you've got $12,000. Guys, I had something on Instagram. You save $28 a day. You have $10,000 by the end of the year.
Yeah.
You know, it's really your habits, right? So now, I want to talk about your guest. He's right here on my left.
El Caballo.
El Caballo.
I just named him that. I just named him that. I made that up right.
El Caballo. Listen, hey man,
I'll take it.
A horse will win any race, right? So go ahead and make the introduction. Who do we have here?
When I stepped down from the presidency, NARAP, I felt I was just being pulled in too many directions.
Yeah.
What I did was I was interviewing different media companies because I saw before, this is like 2019, I believe, right? 2018. I was like, how can I be in the office but still get my message out? Because banking and real estate is very complicated sometimes. You got to be in the office doing the work. And I was interviewing different people. I interviewed 2 other people, and then one person actually, I was gonna go with somebody else, and somebody referred me to JC, and JC,
he's drilling you right now.
It gets better because I had called him twice and he never called me back. I was like, yo, I can't curse on the radio. So then I was like, you know what? Then he called me, and then we had a really long ass discussion. And I was like, this guy, he gets it.
But why are you killing the dude? Why don't you just say his name?
Authenticity. JC Polonia, Juan Carlos Polonia.
JC Polonia. Hey, man, what's up? Welcome to the house, man. Big round of applause for JC.
Thank you.
The media guy here and the magic behind all the stuff you're doing at Ask Luis Omar.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So
give him a follow.
Mira, not for nothing.
The mad
man.
scientist.
You're the mad scientist. And you're from the neighborhood.
I am.
You're from the neighborhood.
Born and raised.
Tell us about your experience there, because you look a little younger than us.
Just a tad.
Yeah,
a couple weeks.
It's because, hey, listen, we got grays. You got none.
Yeah, I'm losing hair. Does that count? It might put me.
We're on the radio. They can't see it.
You're right. There's some cameras.
Well, listen, man. So tell us about your experience there, because you're a business owner there. Yeah. You're Latino, and it's a lot of what we talked about here, where the neighborhoods, don't get that kind of shine because people just don't know who's there, right? It's like Hollywood, right? How many Latino actors are there and in what roles are they placed in? And here you are putting it on film. And you got a great guy, by the way. So tell us a little bit about your story.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in the Bronx. My grandma came here with my mom when she was 3 or 5. So my mom was 3 or 5. And my grandma basically was her own little entrepreneur while she was here. Obviously, she was uneducated, had no college experience whatsoever. So
that's what we talk about.
Yeah.
Yes, she ended up learning a skill that she was comfortable with, which was sewing. And she literally built the foundation of our family with her hands.
Wow.
So thinking
Talk about sow what you reap, huh?
That's exactly right. That's
amazing.
Exactly right.
Amazing.
So it's I always say, it's where did my entrepreneurial kind of, passion come from? I think about my mom and my dad. They're not necessarily entrepreneurs, even though my mom's getting into it now. She's seeing it. She's like, oh, you got your little business. I'm going to get my little business too. But I think back to my grandma as really the root of seeing everything come up and what was being built. She used her hands because she had nothing else. Right.
Yeah.
So she didn't know where to go to. She didn't know how to speak English. She just is starting to get around over 20, 25 years to being able to really defend herself speaking English.
What years were this?
So she came down and my mom was born 70s. I'm not going to, let me hold that. She'll kill me if I say that on the radio. Hold her age.
Hey, Mom, he's on the radio.
We're going to cut that back. So this is like the 80s.
Okay.
80s, baby.
I'm going to give ranges because, So around the 80s, but I was born in the mid 90s. So I was born in 95. So I was born and raised in the Bronx. I ended up growing up with people that was in the same scenario, right? So you never get exposure to anything else outside of your little circle, right? So
boom, you hit a master point right there. And this is exactly why this show exists. This show exists to expand people's minds, and then they don't have this fear of getting off at that subway station, or going into this neighborhood thinking oh my God, it's what I saw on TV. I love that you said that. Now, let me ask you, Polonia, you speak Spanish?
I do.
Yeah, give us a little something, porque nosotros tenemos personas latinas aquí que están escuchando el show, tienen otro punto de vista de cómo es la vida en diferentes lugares, y aquí, estas son 2 personas del Bronx. I mean, mírele la cara. Usted no le van a tener miedo a estos niños.
Dos latinos.
So, ellos son perfectas personas que son ciudadanos de ese vecindario y se criaron allá, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Cuéntanos un poquito. What was that life like?
So it's funny because I'm not going to put the stereotypes behind it, but it was unfortunate that my grandma had a bad experience when she was here. Within the first 2 years, she was actually held up with my mom, and it ended up giving her this kind of same thing that was driven by the media.
Right.
When one thing that happens isn't exactly or tells the full story of what a borough or a neighborhood is about.
Right.
But because of that natural kind of reaction to it and how she was very overprotective. Very overprotective, right? So if I would go to the park by 5 or 6 o'clock, she would end up showing up. Giancarlo, ¿por qué tú no estás en la casa ya? Bang.
So the street lights didn't even come on yet.
No, they weren't even, the sun was still out. The sun was still out, and she's showing up at the park telling us,
Wow.
oh, you have to go home.
Yeah.
But that's all we had to do. If it wasn't that, then I would just be at home playing Xbox because they didn't want me going to the movies by myself. They didn't want me.
Hold on. My man didn't want to date himself, but he just said Xbox.
I know he did. I thought if he would have said Nintendo,
Bro, I started with Atari.
Yeah. Oh, Atari, Coleco.
2600, baby.
Yeah, that's
I
the
didn't
OG.
have an Atari.
So you're talking the 90s.
Yeah.
Right? So you're talking in late 90s, as a matter of fact, right?
Yeah.
So estamos hablando de que esta idea de la abuela
Yeah.
siguió permanente y siguió de esa manera, o sea, influyéndote a ti todo ese tiempo de tu vida. O sea, no estamos diciendo que tú no estás viviendo una vida completa, pero para protegerte.
Yeah.
You know, and I really feel like, you know, when you start talking to the people in your neighborhood, you really start to realize who do you have around you, and you really take a different perspective. You know, and I think that's something that you've been able to embrace now with all your video work, right?
Yeah.
And you guys came together now. You're having this financial conversation. So why don't you tell me maybe some of the knowledge you've thrown onto him and he's thrown onto you? Because I'm sure you were like, I need my edit. And he's like, listen, my business is like this. Because this is the beauty when people talk to each other. Businesses come together.
You learn.
Yeah, cultures, recipes. All of a sudden, like, your sancocho's got an extra ingredient, right? So vamos a ver cómo es que las personas se están mezclando de manera constructiva. And how did it work for you guys?
I think it works well because I'm a little older, so the things that he might want to take advantage of, it took me a lot longer to learn about.
Right.
He's always hearing me talk to different people and different scenarios and stuff like that, and he's learning what's really possible. I think last weekend, I'm not to blow him up, but he was speccing a property out. He was thinking about buying something.
Wow.
He called me up. I said, this is the way it worked. This is how much you need down. And
I love this. I love this because now Jay-Z's, you know, you're coming from
Jay-Z.
Jay-Z's coming from a point where he's not just like, you know, hey, let me just go ahead and hit the play button.
Right.
Let me hit the record button. Let me follow Lewis around. Like, basically, you're evolving, right?
Yeah.
So let's just put it this way. My man's going to be big league one day, right?
One day. We ain't there yet. But
Yeah. No, but you're still in the game, right?
Yeah.
You're still not a player?
I'm a player.
All right.
Not in that sense.
Yo, my people.
Not looking.
He's still, you know what? But he crushes a lot. So let's go with that song right there. Big Pun, baby. Let's do it.
No te muevas. Regresamos en tan solo minutos. De regreso con Anthony from the Neighborhood.
Yes, y aquí estamos con dos personas aquí que nos han contado mucho del Bronx. Hemos entendido su experiencia cuando se criaron allá, cómo la mamá, la abuelita lo trataba, right? And grandma was like, come in at 5 o'clock, right? Now you guys come together and you have this financial empowerment through the work you're doing. So it's almost like, you know, it's like you're getting paid to learn, right?
Yeah.
So yo pienso que nosotros debemos encontrarnos con oportunidades y con gente que nos van a dar el reto. O sea, que nos van a dar nosotros, como decir, una barrera, pero no progresar. Una barrera que nos toca estudiar, esforzarnos un poco para poder aprender y así mismo acelerar nuestras propias vidas. So this is how you're going to grow in your life, right? You find challenging people, constructive criticism. I mean, I ask for feedback all the time. I do the show and you see me, I'm telling them like, hey, if you guys like the show, tell me what you want to hear. It's to get the feedback, right? To serve the public and really put out there what they need.
Yeah.
Right. And this is great because you guys have been examples of that. Lewis.
Yes.
You're in the neighborhood.
I am.
You're doing your business.
Every day.
And you actually have your office there.
644 Soundview. Yes.
644 Soundview. You want to reach out to this guy?
644 Soundview.
Yeah. So now, someone who's intimidated, they have no idea how to start. I always like people who are in the business to just maybe give a tip. What's a quick, like, 2-second tip that you can give somebody just to kind of get their ball rolling?
pre-quals, when you work with the loan officer, they're free. Like, you don't have to want to buy a house. You can say, what's my buying power?
Gold.
Help
Gold.
me. You know,
Okay.
and a real loan officer will be like, all right, this is what if you're ready, this is what you can do.
Yeah.
If you're not, but at least you know kind of.
Financial checkup.
Because I always feel like it's always worse. What you think it's going to be is always worse than it really is. Like, I can't afford that. And then they don't know about rental income from the second unit. They don't, like, all the little, I'm not going to get into deep dive.
No.
But you understand? Like,
We said it was 2 seconds.
yeah, okay, bye.
but see, this is a financial checkup, and it's absolutely free.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, Lewis isn't just saying like, "Hey, this is what I do." He's saying that this is
Anybody.
what's available. Anybody. And these folks are out there to do business, so they want your business. So they're going to say, "Hey, let's go in there and let's figure out where you're standing."
Yep.
Now, did you know this one? Like, did you?
I've learned so much just from being in the position that I am
Yeah.
with him. So I always said he tells me that, oh, I'm the guru when it comes to marketing, but it's like business, life, real estate, everything else is coming from him.
Wow.
So it's like when we take a look at the information that's being spewed out, and it's when we talk about exposure, right? We talked about that from the neighborhood. We looked at social media as the opportunity to be a platform to get this out further than Soundview.
Right.
How do we get this out further than Queens? How do we go where it's needed? Because that's
Right.
really what's important. Yes, do we focus on the people that are around us? Absolutely, but he's doing that every single day.
Have you guys seen that in your own community, like where that impact has been so positive that, you know, like you said, you're a guy who's in Little Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
You know, have you seen that repeat itself?
Absolutely, and they use social media platforms to kind of refer you quickly, so they kind of like, yo, checking my boy out. If you like him, call him. So like,
Yeah.
they kind of get to know you indirectly.
Yeah.
And then they feel like they can, if they resonate with you, they'll call you. And
Wow.
they won't. That's cool too, right?
No. Hey,
Like,
listen, but you guys are being ambassadors to the community, which is really what's important. And I'd like people to know, like, if they are not necessarily ready to take any one of these steps, if they're not in your shoes, that they can say, hey, you know what? Maybe I should rethink how I apply for a job,
Yeah.
or what kind of jobs I look for, and what position they're going to put me in, right? Because it's about challenging and really adapting yourself. And you came in a situation where you were like, look, I thought it was one kind of work.
Yeah.
Now you're in a whole nother kind of work, and you're basically in your own neighborhood, you know, enabling a lot of people. So, señores, esto es una cosa que uno tiene que pensar. ¿Estoy haciendo un trabajo o estoy haciendo un servicio? Son dos cosas bien diferentes. ¿Cómo tú le estás sirviendo a las personas? No es un trabajo. El trabajo es algo que se hace cuando no es agradecido, no le importa, y lo puede ser hasta una máquina. Pero cuando tú le estás haciendo un servicio, ahí es cuando tú estás cambiando el mundo. And this is what Lewis is doing, and this is what JC is doing, because Lewis can be the best at what he does, but who cares if they don't know? And JC is like, hey, I've got skills, and I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. So this is a great combination, and these guys came from the Bronx. So there's been a lot of great music. Every song I played is from an artist that's from the Bronx. And I mentioned Hollywood stars and so forth. And this music isn't yesterday's music. It's like way back. It's from the neighborhood, that old neighborhood music. So there's beautiful things, and there's more happening in the Bronx. So why don't we tell the folks who are listening when to go? Like,
There's so
¿cuándo
much-
es que debe de ir al Bronx?
There's so much redevelopment in the Bronx right now. There's so many cool places. There's a hip hop museum that just opened up on the Grand Concourse. Grand Concourse is very Art Deco-ish. There's City Island. Everybody goes.
I love City Island,
Everybody
yes.
goes to have seafood in City Island. I mean, there's just so many places. Though Pelham Bay Park is the largest park in New York City. It's bigger than Central Park.
Right.
People go there. Orchard Beach. I keep on, and the Bronx is the only borough you can go to Jersey directly through.
That's right.
Well, a lot of people don't
That's
realize
right.
that. you
That's
know?
right. So the Bronx is the only borough that's not on an island.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So el Bronx está conectado a lo que es el resto del Estados Unidos. Todas las otras son islas. La isla de Manhattan, la isla de Staten Island y Brooklyn, Queens, Long Island, todo eso es Long Island. Eso es una isla. Bronx es el único que está conectado directo. Y por eso puede pasarte al New Jersey, Connecticut,
Yep.
right? Upstate, directly from the Bronx.
Massachusetts, yeah.
Massachusetts. There you go.
Yeah, yeah.
There you go. So great times to go. You said, or great reasons to go is Hip Hop Museum.
Hip hop music is great, but I'm a hip hop head. The Yankees.
The Yankees, of
right?
course.
Come on.
Now that's an expensive ticket. So if I want to go on the cheap,
Go to the bleachers. Go to the bleachers.
go to the bleachers. All right.
Bleacher creature. That's
Who
what we
cares?
grew up on.
It's
It was
a-
like, yeah, if our parents wanted a ticket, it was $19 a ticket.
Yeah.
It
It's
was like,
really,
we
it's
stand there
really
in the heat.
the
Yeah.
experience.
And you mentioned the nice park there, Pelham Park.
Pelham Bay Park,
Yeah,
largest
Pelham Bay
park
Park.
in New York City. Yeah,
Okay.
bigger than Central Park. What else did I say? I said Orchard Beach.
No.
Everybody loves Orchard Beach.
Orchard Beach.
I don't go there, but everybody loves Orchard Beach.
City Island, you did say.
City Island's right next to Orchard Beach.
City Island's an amazing place to go. I love going there.
Yeah.
And in summertime, it can get a little traffic. It's only
Yeah.
one street. It's only one street to go.
Everybody loves the island feel, and they just gravitate toward it, especially Latinos.
Yes.
Anybody from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
They like that. Yeah.
So Polonia, you got any favorites?
I think he named them all, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah. No,
I
look,
left you.
growing up, I stood where we were local, right? So when you grow up in the Bronx, you usually don't have a car. Like my family didn't get a car till...
Because the train's right there.
Yeah, it's like you have the train, you have the bus. So it's like I stood... Parkchester was really close to me, so I would go to the movie theaters right down there.
Okay.
Hang out in that area. There was a diner. That was the only diner that we would go to, which was Step-In.
Are they still there?
I think they're still there. They
They're
have
still
some new
there?
development.
Listen, if you got a local business, shout them out. Listen,
Yeah.
I love when local businesses get that boost, right? And they know that it was somebody from their neighborhood that reached out and like really just pushed them up. So that's what's it called?
Step-In. Yeah.
Step-In Diner.
Step-In.
All right, Step in the Diner. I got it. It's
Right next to the
catchy.
Chase that's down there. So
Catchy,
Yeah,
catchy.
Step-In used to have like singing at night. They made like little events out of it.
Really?
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah.
Now you mentioned something before, which really is still in my mind. This Little Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Little
Little
what's the
Puerto
story
Rico.
there?
It is,
Should I go there? Can you go there and
you
just
should
walk
go
through?
there and drive around. Yeah. You drive all the way down White Plains Road.
Yeah.
You make a right on Soundview. You go all the way down to the water. There's a ferry there now. The ferry will take you to Manhattan. if you
Wow.
wanna go there.
Oh, okay.
That
Cool,
just
cool,
got
cool.
established.
Wow.
But you drive into it and you'll see there's no more traffic lights. There's just houses. And
Just houses.
And you kind of like, and it's thin streets. So you got.
So you got to ride a bike.
No. The cars are good, but you gotta go slow. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not no two lanes.
Wow.
Stuff like that.
Señores, yo quiero ir allá. Este es el lugar que se llama Puerto Rico, un pequeño Puerto Rico, right?
Puerto Rico, yeah.
So White Plains Road,
all the way down to Soundview.
a Soundview,
Go to the water,
hasta que llegue el agua.
and then you make a right.
Y a una derecha y ya tú vas a ver que la calle se pone bien estrecha, te anda gallina caminando y tú ves casitas
Y
pequeñitas.
todo por el agua. So tú puedes ir a andar por el agua.
¿Puede andar por el agua?
Yeah. Hay parque ahí también.
Wow. So, este se llama una ciudad que es, o un pueblecito que le llaman Pequeño Puerto Rico.
Yep.
Y todavía está, como decir, con los colores tropicales. Casas amarillas, rojas,
yes,
azul.
yes.
Wow. So, te vas a sentir como que está en la isla. That's beautiful. Beautiful. So, and that's any time of the year you can go.
Any time of the year, man. It's open. Just pretend you're visiting somebody. It'll be a little weird.
Hazte ver como que está visitando a alguien que te perdiste y anda buscando una dirección.
primo. Estamos aquí, ¿verdad? Yeah,
Tú sabes que te sale un primo de Luis.
yeah, that's what it is.
Los 55 primos.
Yeah, uno de ellos.
Guys, this is a beautiful world we live in. I want to thank my two guests for being here and really just, sharing such a great memory of Soundview from, their past, but then also presenting a beautiful future for what Soundview is and what it can become, and giving a chance for kids who are listening to listen to two folks who grew up there and are now role models and ambassadors of their communities. This is wonderful. Lewis, keep up the good work, man. I really appreciate it.
Before we go,
What's up?
We got a little gift from us.
Oh, what we got here?
A little Hustler t-shirt,
Oh, get out. I was watching your shirts. I was like, they're pretty cool, man. I love it.
Yeah,
Wow, black shirt. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, listen, this is your thing right here. Hustler.
That's it.
Yeah, I'm a hustler, baby.
There you go.
Don't you know?
But you know what? You're a hustler with heart.
I try.
So it's not all about Lewis, man. It's Lewis and his neighborhood. So I really appreciate this. Thank you very
problem.
much for
Thank you.
being here and being a guest and the gift.
Thanks
Really
for having
thank you.
us. Yeah.
Guys, we get a gift every single day when we talk about different neighborhoods, and I want to go ahead and share more of these with you. So this is going to wrap our show. We live on a beautiful place. I can't wait for us to reconnect. There's so many wonderful neighborhoods to discover. So, como siempre, señores, yo siempre lo quiero ver a ustedes en el vecindario, and I always want to see you back in the neighborhood. Let's go.
Desde la cabina más importante de Long Island, en New York, infórmate de lo que pasa en tu barrio. En 3, 2, 1, arrancamos.